Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny Chess and welcome to Spooktober Day 3. A part of the entire 1 year 365 series where we specifically talk about horror lores, horror stories, ghost stories, folklore, creature, um, creepy creature and stuff like that for the whole full month of October. And we are now at the third day, and in this one, we'll actually discuss about Catacombs of Paris. Um, the reason why I want to discuss about this is because it's kinda spooky and scary, right? And then there's also a movie that actually kinda tells the story of the catacombs. If you guys remember the story called As Above, So Below, it's like a movie, I think. It was not that uh, greatly rated movie. I don't know why, but I personally enjoy watching it because it looks cool. But yeah, I think there's also I don't know, like some kind of like video on YouTube as well, kind of showing the exploration of catacombs as well. I think obviously only partially of them because apparently there's not really a clear record of how big actually was the catacombs, right? Because again, if I watch it or understand it correctly, I think what happened was that it's in the cavern system, right? It's like a underground cave system, right? And just like any other caves, there's like a small crevices and then there's a bigger openings, right? But the thing is that those small opening or small crevices collapsed because of probably because of age as well, and then because of maybe like uh, as a result of like buildings or civilizations in the surface. Then I think it's possible that I think the cave kind of collapsed, and then therefore um, cutting the cave and entrance to those small branches of uh, crevices or caves, right? Therefore, there's like an unrecorded territory basically because it's basically impossible because there is no way to go deeper, right? But that's just from what I know. They cannot really also like doing a digging or explosion. I mean, that because well, obviously, right? The entire thing would collapse, right? Trying to open one passage will have a bigger risk of collapsing more tunnels, right? Or chambers or cavern, right? But yeah, that's about it. But that's just what I know. Therefore, might as well check the Wikipedia one, right? The Wikipedia version of Catacombs of Paris. So let's see the summary from here, and there's that. Okay, so the catacombs of Paris are underground ossuaries in Paris, France. What does ossuaries mean again? I don't know what ossuaries mean, but I guess it's kind of graveyard probably. Which hold the remains of more than 6 million people. That's a lot of people. 6 million? I don't know, like a lot of people probably, right? I mean, yeah, in a small part of a tunnel network built to consolidate Paris' ancient stone quarries. Okay, but why though? Why did they do that back then? I have no idea. But one thing that I know, they don't really dig the caves, right? Like, um, I think anyway, like the underground like caves and tunnels is probably there, and then they just use those spaces for the ossuaries, right, or the graveyard basically. That's just what I'm getting. Like, uh, it's kind of impossible for people to actually dig out, cave system beneath uh, a city, right? A surface, right? Like, it is physically kind of impossible, right? Without machinery, especially. Maybe it's possible with machinery, but then again, like these catacombs actually very wide, very big. I doubt that it is actually man-made. My theory is that it's actually there, and then people discover that, and then might as well use this free space over here for um, like burying people, right? But yeah, that's just my theory anyway. Maybe it's like that, maybe it's not. Who knows? Maybe we'll find out here in this summary over here, right? Extending south from the barrier, the Enfer or Gate of Hell, former city gate, the ossuary was created as part of the effort to eliminate the city's overflowing cemeteries. Okay, so back then, apparently there's already an issue of land over here, like overflowing cemeteries, right? Like basically like a land. There's not much space on land, right? On the surface, right? Yeah, like I guess my theory was kind of right, but we'll need more, right? Yeah, like again, like there's free space underground. Might as well use this instead of using land above the ground, right? Like in the surface, right? Might as well use that for buildings or something like that. I don't know, right? Or farmland. Preparation work began shortly after a 1774 series of Saint Innocents Cemetery quarter basement wall collapses added a sense of urgency to the cemetery eliminating measure. And from 1786, nightly procession of covered wagons transferred remains from most of Paris cemeteries to a mine shaft open near the Rue de la Tombe Issoire. Okay. Okay. First of all, I'm not a French. Like obviously, I'm an Asian. Therefore, I don't know how these words are pronounced. Right? I took French class at the first grade of high school, but that's like oh, actually, that's like 10 years ago. So, yeah, it's been 10 years since that, right? Which I'm now kind of forgetting about that, but I kind of still understand about the basic pronunciations of French. Like this one, Isoar. This one, because O and I, it's not pronounced Isoir, it's pronounced Isoar. Like the word reservoir, right? It's not pronounced reservoir, it's reservoir, and yeah, stuff like that. And then like O and U is pronounced like oo or something like that. um and then like the last letters was not supposed to be like pronounced if it is like if it's a consonant, right? This one, ru de la tombe, probably isoar. But yeah, like if there is an S over there, then it won't be pronounced. Like so, if it's called tombes, then it will be just tombe. I don't know if this one is called tombe or just tomb. But yeah. Anyway, let's continue. Catacombs of Paris. Oh, okay. So yeah, it is in mine shaft, right? And then, as we all know, mine shaft is like probably already there, right? Like a cave, and then they kind of work their way around, like placing supports, wall support, ceiling support, and stuff like that. Therefore, the mine shaft, right? But yeah, I think they just used what it is over there, I guess. Catacombs of Paris, Catacomb de Paris. Also, um, I don't know if this is true or not, but I think Paris is actually pronounced Paris, with no S whatsoever. Because again, like the S is at the back, so at the last letter in the word, so it's probably not pronounced, right? So it's probably Paris, like Catacombe de Party, right? Or something like that, basically. I might be wrong, but that's just what I understand from what I learned for 1 year in the first grade of my high school, which was again 10 years ago, right? Like I said previously. Crypt of the Sepulchral Lamb in the Catacombs of Paris. Okay, so it's over here, right? So, from what I understand as well, like the bones, like human skeletons, there like a lot of bones, right? And then there is the skull or the skeleton of the head, right, which is the skull. They put the skull as the in the walls, like maybe it was like a wet cement, and then they just kind of stick one by one, right? And then as for the rest of the bones of the bodies, like I don't know, like your ribs, your thigh bones, and then I don't know, like your limbs, your arm bones, or something like that. I don't know. Um, I think those were kind of shoved into a small crevices, probably. I'm not entirely sure, right? But from the movie, it looks like, whenever they crawl into a tight cave or a small tunnel, then there's just a lot of bones over there, right? So I just imagine that they actually just shoved up lots of those bones into those small chamber or tunnel in the cave, right? Probably not. I don't know. Okay, the location within Paris. Oh, okay, Paris. Okay. I assume the red one is the location, right? But who knows? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe this whole thing has catacombs beneath them. I don't know, but yeah. Established 1810, location Place Denver Rochereau, 75014 Paris. Okay, so that's the address, right? Type historic site, collections, Paris, former stone quarries. Ossuary contents of Paris pre 18th century intramural cemeteries. Visitors 480,000 in 2018, but again, this is 2018, right? So 2 years later will be 2020. That's probably already like 500 and something thousand visitors, right? Probably, or even reach 1 million. I don't know. But then 2020, there's the pandemic, the COVID stuff, and then everything kind of shut down until recently 2021 or 2022 even. Therefore probably the amount of visitors kind of reduced to an extent, right? And then maybe it got opened again like right now, probably, right? I mean, I don't know like the current situation over there, because again, like I'm Asian, right? And this is in the EU basically, or Europe. Public transit access, Denver, Rosero, okay. Don't know what that symbols means. Website, okay. Probably like if you want to go there, right? Like book a reservation or like getting yourself listed as visitors, probably. Um, One thing that I know is that the site is actually kind of secured. So like the big entrances to the catacombs either kind of guarded or closed, right? Like you cannot really enter that without permission, just like national park, for instance. You can just walk inside freely, right? You need to kind of go to the what is it called, like in the post in the at the front, right? Like you need to pay for submissions or something like that. I don't know. Like pay some money and then you can get access to it, right? Probably this is the same as that as well. Like you cannot just enter this without permission, otherwise you will get in trouble with the laws or courts over there, probably, right? But yeah, also, I think that this area is so big, and this is like below city, right? This is Paris, like big city, right? And then it's beneath them. What I imagine is that if you you know, if you can find an old house, probably they will have actually like a secret passage, maybe in the basement, to the catacombs, right? Which is possible. Again, catacombs. This is using a tunnel, right? A cave system. I guess the same's also in the U.S. as well. Like, if you know any old building, like very old building from before, like, I don't know, like in the 15th century or something like that, there's probably like a basement, like a secret compartment that reveals a secret passage. Then if you actually go through that, it will actually lead to an underground cave system, right? Which, to be honest, is scary in its own, if you ask me, because here in my country, in Southeast Asia, there are actually locations where it turns out that it is connected into a large cave system, not a natural cave system, but more like a man-made cave system, because we were colonialized, right? Like, by that I mean we were kind of what is it called again? Like, there was like a colony that based in my country before our country declared its independence, right? And again, like during World War or stuff like that, they kind of made like a bunker, right? Which extends underground, and like later, like we figured out in the news, and then like there is a secret tunnel leading to some kind of bunker, but it's not as big as cave system or the one in the US, right? Like, um like I have seen like the map of the underground tunnels in the US. Like, I think there is like a comparison of the area where people went missing, and then the area that is um marked as an underground tunnels, right? And it's the same, so it's kind of creepy, right? How big the tunnel system or the cave system really is in the underground, right? But yeah, I guess, yeah. Okay, so let's continue again with this one. Okay, history. Okay, Paris cemeteries. Okay, less innocent cemetery in 1550. Okay, Paris' earliest burial grounds were to the southern outskirts of the Roman era left Bank city, in ruins after the Western Roman Empire's 5th century and the ensuing Frankish invasions. Parisians eventually abandoned the settlement for the marshy right bank. From the 4th century, the first known settlement there was on higher ground around a Saint Etienne church and burial ground beyond the present Hotel de Ville. An urban expansion of on the right bank began in earnest after other ecclesiastical landowners filled in the marshlands from the late 10th century. Thus, instead of burying its dead away from inhabited areas as usual, the Paris right bank settlement began with cemeteries near its center. Okay, I honestly do not get anything from this paragraph. Okay, the most central of the cemeteries, a burial ground, became the property of Saint Opportun Parish after the original church was demolished. Okay, when it became its own parish associated with church, this burial ground filling the land between the present had become the city's principal cemetery. Okay, so yeah, like okay, so from what I'm getting out of this is at first people bury people in the ground, right, surface area. But the thing is that they kind of had to move, I guess, and then um like the ground or the land is kind of used, therefore they kind of need to re-dig the grave, right? And then dig the grave, and then place the bone somewhere else, right? uh, but yeah, which therefore then the catacombs underground, right? For that, I think that's what happened in the history. The future ossuary Paris former mines. Map of former underground mine exploitations in Paris 1908. Okay, so this is the same as this one, I think. The yeah, this one, right? So it probably started with this dot over here, and then it kind of got expanded, right? Because I noticed this territorial, right? This river over here, as you can see over here, and then goes into the middle and then goes down, right? I think I saw that as well in this map over here. Uh, Kinda like this one, probably, right? But yeah, and then there's this one, the location probably the one in orange or red color. But yeah, okay. Also recreation. Okay, here we go. The need to eliminate less innocence gained urgency when a basement wall adjoining the cemetery collapsed under the weight of the mass grave behind it. The cemetery was closed to the public and all intramurals burials were forbidden. The problem of what to do with the remains crowding intramurals was still unresolved. Okay, so again, like, oh yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense as well. So um, the graveyard in the surface area, surface level, because lots of people were buried, and then the land itself cannot hold it, right? And then the cemetery collapsed, right? And then there was no like there was no solution for that at the moment, right? Mine consolidation were still occurring, and the underground around the site collapse that had initiated the project had already become a series of stone and masonry inspection passageways that reinforced the street above. Um, okay, so the mine is still occurred, right? At the time, the mine renovation and cemetery closures were both issues within the jurisdiction of the prefect, Police Lieutenant General Alexander Lenoir, who had been directly involved in the creation of a mine inspection service. Okay, so the graveyard collapsing caused a problem in the mine, like in the mine in the making, right? Like in the mine shaft, basically. Because of that, there's a problem, right? Okay, after deciding to further renovate the tomb Isar passageways for their future role as an underground sepulchre, the idea became law during late 1785. A well within a walled property above one of the principal subterranean passageways was dug to receive less unearthed remains, and the property itself was transformed into a sort of museum for all the headstones, sculptures, and other artifacts recuperated from the former cemetery. Beginning from an opening ceremony on 7 April the same year, the route between Les Innocents and the Clos de la Tombe Issoire became a nightly procession of black cloth covered wagons carrying the millions of Parisian dead. It would take 2 years to empty the majority of Paris cemeteries. Okay, so um, I guess it's to prevent another collapse. Probably they decided to remove the bones, right? Or like the cemeteries, basically, right? Cemeteries whose remains were moved to catacombs include Saint Innocents. Okay, okay, renovation and ossuary decor. Catacombs in the first years were disorganized bone repository. Yeah, I guess it makes sense, right? Because they just kind of uh, not really planning to have a lot of like 6 million people's bones and skulls, right? They just kind of use this as temporary, probably, or like just like they didn't think that it will be this big, right? Like it's just for some, so it's kind of disorganized, right? But Louis Etienne, director, had renovations done that would transform the caverns into a visitable mausoleum. In addition to directing the stacking of skulls and femurs into the pattern seen in the catacombs today, he used the cemetery decorations he could find. Uh, okay, many had disappeared to complement the walls of bones. Okay. So yeah, I guess then they started this idea to kind of organize this, right? By what is it like? uh Incorporating the skulls into the walls basically, right? And then the femurs as well, which is scary to be honest, but I mean it's just a skull. It's not really that scary, right? I mean it's just a thing, it's just an object at that time, right? It's not a living creature. It was from part of living creature, which is human, but then again it just becomes a thing, right? Which is not really scary to be honest. But okay, modern bodies of the dead from the riots were put in the catacombs. Okay, the tomb lost in the catacombs during, okay, found 11 years later. Okay, don't know what that means. Yeah, it's probably grave robber, right? Okay. Okay, World War II, Parisian members used the tunnel system and established the headquarters from where Colonel led the insurrection for the liberation of Paris in June 1944. Okay. Uh, 2004, police discovered a fully equipped movie theater in an area of the catacombs underneath the Trocadero. It was equipped with a giant cinema screen, seats for the audience, projection equipment, film reels of recent thrills and film noir classics, a fully restocked bar, and a complete restaurant with tables and chairs. The group took responsibility for the installation. Wow, that's actually messed up. They actually built a theater in the catacombs. That's actually scary. Oh, here we go. The film As Above, So Below, released in 2014, was the first production that secured permission from the French government to film in the catacombs. Yeah, um I guess it's at this point it's actually very difficult to like trespass the catacombs, right? Probably like every entrance found had been recorded and had been either closed or guarded, right? And yeah, stuff like that, I guess. During 2015, Airbnb paid 350,000 euros as part of a publicity stunt offering customers the chance to stay overnight in the catacombs. Wow, that's actually okay. So, first thing, is it one person or it is like a group of people, right? If it's one person, then it is actually extremely expensive. But if it's like a group of, let's say, 50 people, right? Then it becomes, I don't know, 35 divided by 7, like 5,000 euros, right? Which is not that bad, I guess, compared to 350,000, that is. Still expensive, but yeah, I guess, okay, that's actually interesting. I wonder if actually people actually use this, like to stay overnight, maybe. I wonder who actually did this. In August 2017, thieves broke into a cellar from the catacombs and stole more than 250,000 euros of wine. Okay, thieves. Well, I guess it makes sense in its own because again, this is catacombs. It's a tunnel, right? A cave system. There's a lot of branches, a lot of crevices or something like that, right? Not only it goes like XY dimension, it's also Z dimension as well. Like it can go as deep as who no one knows, right? Like I guess some people know probably, but then again, like um it can go as deep as whatever, right? Because again it's cave system, maybe it connects to the one in the US, probably across the ocean, who knows, right? Like underwater, underground cave system probably, right? Maybe it collapsed, obviously, right? Probably it collapsed and then like kind of disconnected, right? But it's a possibility, I guess. I mean, it can be possible, right? But it's most likely not because of the earthquakes and then the tunnel collapsing and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to say is that because this is cave system, therefore as well as mine shaft, right? I can only imagine like there is like emergency exit, right? Therefore, like I said in the beginning as well, like if I understand it correctly, like if you find an old house in Paris, they actually might have passage in their basement and actually connects to the whole catacombs, right? It's probably a thing, still a thing, maybe, right? But yeah, and then visits. I guess this is for the tourist. I guess disruption. Okay, yeah. COVID-19 pandemic, right? I guess it's kind of closed, right? Okay. Disruption of surface structures. Okay. Okay, so this is probably the whole catacomb maps, right? Well, not really the whole, but more like the whole that is currently known to be recorded, right? Maybe there is an unrecorded passage. It's possible, right? Um, but yeah, that's about it for today's discussion about catacombs. If you are from Europe, please let me know more about these. Uh, is it true that this can go as deep as as deep as possible? Is it true that there is more unrecorded territory more than actually recorded cave system, like in the catacombs, right? Is it true that the undiscovered part is actually bigger than the discovered parts? And then, like, is it also true that you can actually find random multiple entrance or exits at the surface, right? Other than the recorded, the common entrance to the catacombs, right? Is it actually true? If so, let me know down in the comments, because again, I'm not from Europe. Specifically, I'm not a France. I'm not from Paris. I'm from Southeast Asia. Therefore, my knowledge is limited, right? I don't know anything about that. But yeah, anyway, that will be it for today's discussion. Spooktober day 3. Next will be Spooktober day 4, which is tomorrow. Until then, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you again very, very soon. And see ya.